something as prestigious as being a judge. You know what? I'll forego that to chase this dream.
And so for all of this, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Friday afternoon live legal briefs with Judge Vinny. I'm Judge Vinny, Vince August. I wanted to do this one because I've been getting a lot of questions. We originally wanted to do the show lives on Wednesday nights, but we also wanted to produce the show and have graphics and make it look really good. So what we decided doing is taping the first couple shows and then eventually build our way to a live show on Wednesday nights. So as we're growing, we're getting a lot of questions and people are sending in their questions and they're like, oh, we'd love to ask you guys questions when you're live. So what I did is I made a list of some of those questions and promised to answer you. So this is going to be that answer to a lot of those questions. Now, the first question I got, which is kind of a silly question, is, do you really need the AirPods? Like, is that a thing? Yeah, I do, because here's the thing. See, this is the way I can hear Ben and Michael and Jess, and it also produces really good quality. So I have to hold the mic, or there's then a mic coming in from here or whatever, because I'm in a judge's chambers. Look, see, it's a law office. This is judge's chambers. That's the whole thing. You get the thing? All right. So now let me get to some of the questions. You guys loved the free speech episode, and I got a bunch of questions with regards to that and deplatforming. So let's start off with that. So one of the things I got was with regards to free speech and the deplatforming. People like, but Vin, there are people out there that really, aren't they dangerous having that kind of platform? Like somebody like Julian Assange. Wasn't it dangerous what he did? And I said, well, hold on. When it comes to Julian Assange, this is what you could do with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. You could look at the person and say, look, I don't like him. He's a pompous ass. I don't like him as a person. I don't like him as a human being. But really, what did WikiLeaks do? WikiLeaks put the media's feet to the fire. That's why the media can't stand them. So while you may not like the person, what Julian Assange did and what, he was able to release and get out there and the information he got out, basically it was a message to the media, a message to people, even in politics, to say, be on your game because you know what? We're watching you too. So you can't take any liberties. You can't screw up because now we are your watchdog. So it's kind of the opposite. Usually the media is reporting on everything that we're doing. That was the flip. And while they kind of vilified this guy, Julian Assange, I'm like, listen, you may not like him as a person, but what he did wasn't really bad to blow the whistle. I thought we love whistleblowers. So that's the first thing. Then I got questions about Eric Snowden. And people say, well, look at Eric Snowden. Wasn't what he did the acts of a traitor? And I'm like, well, let's go over this. Look at all of the things Eric Snowden has said. Look at all of the things that he said. Look at all of his videos, all of his interviews. And the one thing that I always ask people is, tell me where he's wrong. Tell me where the information that he's putting out there is factually incorrect. Okay, where it's disputed and people are attacking. See, because here's what we do now in this country. When we don't like the information, when we don't like the news, rather than discredit the facts, which we can't, we attack the person. So it's attack the messenger when you can't beat the message. So that's with regards to those two individuals. Now, with regards to deplatforming, I got a ton of messages with regards to, but you know what? Donald Trump shouldn't have this platform and so shouldn't have this platform. It's dangerous. It's this, it's that. And I say, listen, when you deplatform people from the big companies, Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all you're doing is forcing them to meet in smaller private groups where you can't keep tabs on them. And they're going to continue to meet. They're going to continue to disseminate information amongst themselves. Don't you want to be able to have access to that information as opposed to later on being blindsided? Because you're not going to stop this group from communicating with one another. All you're going to do is change the form of communication, and you're going to think that because it's out of sight, it doesn't exist anymore. See, there's a difference between out of sight, out of mind, and out of sight and out of existence. Out of sight does not mean out of existence. So I always say, look, I would rather see what people are thinking, planning, plotting, leave it out in the open. That's how we got the information about what happened on January 6th, as opposed to create an underground now that now you have to look for it. Now you don't know what's going on. Here's the other example I want to use for deplatforming to bring it down to the simplest level and how you're saying, well, look, it doesn't affect me, so screw everybody. Well, no. So hold on a second. What if I told you this? You go out and you go to buy a brand new cell phone, okay? And then you go to your cell phone provider, whether it's T-Mobile, Verizon, whoever you use to provide your service. And they do a background check on you. As you're standing there, you give them all the information because you got to give them your credit card, you give them your driver's, you give them everything because they got to send you a bill. And then they start doing a search. And then they find your Facebook page and they're like, oh, this person is a Christian. They're a Jew. They're a Muslim. They're a Democrat. They're a Republican. They're a libertarian. They're an independent. They're gay. They're straight. They like the Yankees. They don't like the Red Sox. They like this team. Whatever the reason may be. And they look and they're like, you know what? I don't want this person to have a phone. I see a post here that I don't like. You know what? This person posted a meme or reposted a meme that I didn't think is funny. You know what? As it turns out, we're not going to give you cell phone providers. We're not going to provide you with a cell phone use with regards to our service. What do you mean? Yeah, no, but Verizon, we don't want you. Yeah, go somewhere else. And by the time they get to T-Mobile, Verizon has shared the information with T-Mobile, and then T-Mobile shares it with another provider. And now all of a sudden, this person can't get access to their phone or phone service. That's deplatforming too. So imagine now you're the recipient of that. Imagine if every time you went to go buy a phone or renew your service, someone did a background check on you and like, you know what? I don't like this post that you put up. I don't like this. I don't want to provide you this service because all you're going to do is continue to put up these memes. You know what? Nah, not good. So that's the danger in deplatforming people. See, it starts off on a high level where you're like, oh, Orange Man bad, get him off. Okay, and that's fine. Now it's going to end there. No. When you give up that power, when you give up that freedom, eventually it's going to trickle itself down to you. See, and that's the danger in all of this. So when you have people out there like Brian Stelter and Keith Olbermann that basically want to eradicate Fox News in its entirety, that it shouldn't have a platform at all, and anybody that was ever associated with Fox News should be eradicated from society. Literally, these are the words they use: shunned from society, completely eradicated. I mean, is this the language that we want to use? Because if you're one of the people that says, yeah, you know what, we need to eradicate all these people, then I hate to tell you, you are a tool for fascism. You're a tool for fascism and authoritarianism, because that brings us right back to book burning. And eventually, they're going to get to your book. It's just a matter of time before they get to your book. So that's one of the answers I wanted to give. I'm looking at some of the other questions here. I don't use a teleprompter. I'm sorry. I just write down notes. So that's with Fox News, the platforming. What else did someone ask me? Let's see. With regards to, okay. So this was another one I got. Marjorie Taylor Greene. People like, Vin, how have you not commented on Marjorie Taylor Greene and all of the wacky stuff she's saying? Look, people are allowed to vote for whoever they want to vote for. And I never tell people how to use their vote or not use their vote. Okay. But when you get somebody in a position of power like this, and you see some of the things that they are saying, this is one of those situations where you have to ask yourself, is this person fit for office? So, for example, when I was a judge, they looked at my appearances on What Would You Do? They looked at some of the comedy I was saying, and I was saying, look, is it possible that the people that come before you are going to see those jokes, see those performances as an actor, not really you, an actor in a performance, and be able to distinguish between actor Vince August and Judge Vince Sicari? You know what? We think there's going to be a difficulty for people doing that. Now, I fought it and said, I think you're really way off base on this. It's clear that one is a performance because I am actually hired to perform in that venue. I have a SAG-AFTRA card and everything. It's literally an acting performance. Whereas the other is me on the bench doing my job. Now, where it got a little fuzzy is with stand-up. I understand that when people say, well, the jokes are coming from you. Is anyone else writing your jokes? No, those jokes are all from me. And I understand that people don't understand humor, the exaggerations, and the things that when you write jokes, you know what? That's your perspective. That's your belief. They don't understand that comedy, stand-up comedy, is a performance as much as it, as anything that you see on film or television. But at the same time, I said, okay, I get it. I understand why people may have difficulty seeing the difference between real persona, me, and stage persona, performer, looking to elicit a laugh, which is why I took the Supreme Court's decision in New Jersey and said, you know what? Fine. I'll stop being a judge. I think that should also apply to someone like this Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think you have to sit her down and say, hey, look, you're supposed to represent everybody in your district. You understand some of the people in your district are made up of the groups that you are basically attacking and mocking in your tweets and some of the stuff you're saying. How can you do that if you don't have respect for people within your district? Because you don't just serve your constituents, you serve everybody in that district. See, that's where you have to look, take a person aside and say, are you meeting the criteria of the job? So when you look at somebody like that, I say, yeah, you know what? That's a tough call because maybe she shouldn't have that position. All right. Now, there's a lot of other people that have been doing and saying things since then. There's another question I got 3 times. I must have been 3 questions every hour for the last hour this morning. AOC, have you seen Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? She doesn't like being called AOC, even though it's her Twitter handle. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, what do you think about the story that came out about her and the fact that she wasn't in the Capitol building? Look, with regards to her emotional reaction to what happened, I am never going to question a person's emotional reaction to things. Look, I was visually watching 9/11 happen. There were people that maybe were in the Empire State Building in Midtown Manhattan that saw the attack on the World Trade Center and thought, oh my God, we're going to get hit next. If they're attacking all the tall buildings in New York, we're next. Panic sets in. You run out of the Empire State Building feeling like you're in fear for your life. Do you tell those people in the Empire State Building, all those blocks and miles away, your feeling of fear was wrong? I don't think so. So I don't have a problem with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's emotional position on her fear. I would never question someone's emotion and their emotional reaction to a situation. That's hers. Whether she was actually in the line of danger, much like the people in Manhattan in the Empire State Building, I don't think is as relevant as to look at the time, the information she had, what was happening in the Capitol building, and she's however far away, brought upon her a certain fear that whether someone else felt the same fear, that's not the way emotions work. Everyone doesn't feel the same emotions. So I don't have a problem with any of that. But here's where I have the problem with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The next day, after people find out she wasn't in the Capitol building, after people found out, look, that couldn't have been an intruder pounding on your door. When people started doing that, what she does then is she sends an email to all of her people, all of her constituents, anybody that has donated to her and said, if anyone is fact checking me, you need to report those people on whatever forum you see them fact checking me. Now we have a problem. See, you were fine with your story. I had no problem with your Instagram. I had no problem with anything you were saying on the floor. None of that. But the second you say, look, no one's allowed to fact check me, what you're saying is your feelings, your emotions trump anyone's ability to look into whether or not you're factually accurate. This is the same person that said to who's the interviewer on CNN that she was talking to on 60 Minutes, Anderson Cooper. When she says to Anderson Cooper, look, it's more important to be morally correct than semantically, specifically, factually correct. No, 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 no. Hold on a second. People have to be able to fact check one another. Otherwise, what are we doing here? Then we're back to, tell your truth. No, no, no. Look, your truth is your emotional truth. Then there is the factual truth. And you could say, look, when I heard the pounding at the door, considering everything that was going on, I didn't know what was happening. I'm popular. For as many people that like me, there's people that hate me. I get death threats. You know what? My reaction at that moment was, oh my God, someone's here to kill me. I'm not thinking this is the police coming to say, that's fine. I have no problem. But when someone says, look, as it turns out, we looked at things and no one even made it down the hallway of the building. Can you at least acknowledge that you weren't actually in danger and you almost didn't die? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially when you're the person that took a picture, behind the fence on the border and there was nothing on the other side of the border. So Ms. Cortez has had this ability to kind of create this emotional, platform of it doesn't matter what I'm looking at, it's what I'm feeling at that moment. So whether or not I'm actually looking at refugees or immigrants being kept in cages, that's not what's important. What's important is what I was feeling at the moment. So it's not important whether or not I was in a Capitol building, it's what I was feeling at the moment. Don't fact check me ever. That's the problem I have with her, is you can't go to the point of saying, don't fact check me, especially when she's attacking someone who I had no problem with her attacking, Josh Hawley, saying, look, where are the facts supporting your allegation that the election got stolen? Where are the actual facts? Because we heard about the machines. We saw that woman Powell that was bringing all these lawsuits. No one has followed up on that with where's all the lawsuits? Remember the Kraken? She was in a release to Kraken. Where is this Kraken? So it's fair to factually make assertions about a Josh Hawley. But what if Josh Hawley, like AOC, comes to the floor and says, hey, listen, at the time, my emotion was that the election got stolen based upon seeing the rallies, based upon seeing what was happening with all these ballots. Emotionally, I felt as if the election was being stolen. See the way that works? See, it plays both ways. So you can't have that, well, it works for me, not for them. And to me, I had no problem with anything she said. Really, none of it. None of that 90 minutes. It was the day after when it became, don't fact check me. You can't do that. We're all subject to being fact-checked. Even me, fact-check me. Whatever I say in this. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to say I'm sorry. And listen, I know people don't apologize. We're in this mode of don't apologize because if you apologize, it's a sign of weakness. No, I don't buy that. I find apologies to be a sign of strength and a sign of learning. Look, I made a mistake. I'm going to learn from my mistake. And here it is. I know in our society, though, if you apologize, right away you're shunned from society and, we get canceled. I don't give a shit. I'm going to apologize. And if you want to cancel me, cancel me. All right. So that's the other thing. Governor Cuomo in New York. Okay, look, when it comes to Governor Cuomo and Governor Murphy, I'm in New Jersey. I'm 15 minutes from the border of New York State, 15 minutes from the border of New York City in two different directions. When it comes to the rules that we are being subject to, when it comes to all of these people, whether it's Josh Hawley, whether it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, whether it's Biden, Trump, and now Cuomo and even Murphy, when I see Governor Cuomo, who for a whole year and wrote a book about leadership, talked about we have to follow the facts. You have to follow the facts. You follow the science. We have to follow science. He kept repeating himself over and over again, following facts. Then this week earlier, he puts experts in quotes. Well, then what facts are you following? Because if experts are not experts and they're experts, then what the hell are we doing here? And then when you said all year long, every life is important, every life matters. And when you get questioned, hey, look, you underreported the amount of deaths in nursing homes. Can you admit it? And he says, they died in a nursing home. They died in a hospital. They're dead. What's the difference? They're dead. Whether they die in what? No, you can't do that, man. You can't have it both ways. You can't say every life matters and then all of a sudden say they're dead. What difference does it make? And then we have Murphy. When all of the numbers were coming down in the summer and he was ready to open up the bars and restaurants for 4th of July, and then all of a sudden said, you know what, no, they're not at that place just yet. I'm going to pull back. And restaurants took a beating. Now the numbers are higher than what they were in the 4th of July. And you say, you know what, we're going to bump up the capacity from 25% to 35%. See, when I look at all of these people and I look at, it's more important to be morally correct. This is what I feel. Josh Hawley with his, hey, look, you know what? I think the election was stolen. I don't have really facts and evidence to present right now, but that's enough for me to make these statements. Ted Cruz, same thing. Okay. When you see all of these people, there's Marjorie Taylor off her rocker. When you see these people, I know it's Green, but I'm going to call her Marjorie Taylor off your rocker. When you see it, because there's John Rocker, the pitcher in the Braves, look it up. It makes sense. It's a good joke. Okay. When you look at all of these people saying all of these things, do you understand why somebody like me is like, you want me to trust you with my tax dollars? You want me to trust you to tell me when it's safe to go out, not safe to go out, which vaccine to take, which vaccine not to take. Don't worry, get this vaccine. Yeah, no, we got in 21 days and 29 days, depending. We got more. Yeah, no, you're not going to miss the second shot. You understand why someone like me is skeptical? And it's just like, yeah, you know what? It's again, I'm going to say it again. Look, we saw today, Robinhood finally let people start trading their own money. Today. That happened today. You're allowed to use your own money your way. Wow. That was really great. Thank you. And in the meantime, the stock market, all-time highs. So the rich just kept getting richer for the last 2 weeks. And then here we are, still waiting for Biden. Are we going to get that money? Joe, 1,400? Anything? Come on, man. That's the other thing. I'm going to jump on this one too while I'm at it because this came up today. Elizabeth Warren, let's forgive $50,000 in student debt. By the way, more than half of the student debt that's owed is owed by people that have master's and doctorate degrees. Okay. So people right now that need that $1,400, that are begging for the $600, those people, okay, are going to get taxed to pay the $50,000 that's going to be forgiven from tuitions for people with masterships and doctorates that are making more than enough money to afford their tuition. I mean, come on, man. You want me to trust these people? Really? And then you want me to choose? And I'm going to tell you again, this is my favorite saying. I'm going to keep on saying it. This is not left versus right. This is not black versus white. This is top versus bottom. It is rich versus poor. Okay, stop believing what they're telling you. That's what this is. I want to make sure I got to all the topics. Sorry, I can't read. Oh, here was the other one. Great point. Talking about some of the news and a deplatforming and how truth matters. So CNN had on a legal analyst. Oh my God, I moved my computer. A legal analyst. Ready for this? Her name was Jennifer Rogers. She's a former federal prosecutor. This is what she said, and my producer, Jess Miller, can put up the quote, and we'll put up the quote on one of the comments. You do not have a First Amendment right to lie. I want you to know that. A legal analyst, a former federal prosecutor, said on CNN to John King, you do not have a First Amendment right to lie. Lying is now illegal. Can you imagine that? Lying is now illegal. So now you don't have, so next time someone asks you, how does this look? Do I look good in this outfit? According to Jennifer Rogers, you got to tell the truth. Otherwise, you're going to go to jail. What are we doing? What are we doing here? This is nuts. I did the AOC thing. I did and I did that. Okay. So let me end on this. Guys, look. We're going to bring the funny. I promise to bring the funny. But when I answer some of your questions, I mean, when they're serious questions, I got to answer a question the serious way, right? When you ask me a funny question, I'll ask you a funny way, like the earbuds. Hey, what am I going to do? Look, yes, I know they look like white, weird earrings or whatever. Hey, I look like Mr. Clean. Do the Mr. Clean thing. And people are like, can you take out the one and not the other? I would do that, but I don't know what it means. So if you take out the one ear pod, does that mean, if I leave it in my left ear, you're going to think, oh my God, he's a little, and if I leave it in my right ear, I don't know. So, and then someone said, just get the whole head rig thing and then put that on your head. And really, like an NFL coach with the thing. Yeah, why don't I just have cards and send signals to you instead of answering? Look, we're doing the best we can. It's a low budget. In fact, you know what our budget is? Jess, what's our budget? Oh, that's right. It's nothing. We don't have a budget. Jess doesn't even have to come on the screen because I know what the budget is. It's zero. It's unemployment budget. It's we're trying to get PPP loans for a business that doesn't exist. So we're doing the best we can. You ask me funny questions, you get funny answers. You ask me serious questions, you're going to get serious answers. I love doing the lives on Friday at least. Believe me when I tell you, we're going to try to come back and do these lives, do the full episodes live on Wednesday nights. Until then, we have another really cool episode coming out this week where you get to meet my producer, Jess Miller. And boy, was she worked up over this one, the stock market thing. She wants to call somebody at Robin Hood. She wants to, if a little kid comes trick-or-treating at her house this next year dressed like Robin Hood, she may kill the kid. I'm not going to lie. Don't go to my producer's house dressed like a Robin Hood character. She will kill you. So we have that coming up. And then we have a really cool, we think we're going to have our first live in 2 weeks. I don't want to blow it. I don't want to tip the story, but we're going to tell stories, and it's going to be kind of like that game, To Tell the Truth. Look it up, Google it if you're young, you know what it is. And then you're going to have to guess whether or not what the story we're telling is true or false, and that one's going to be a lot of fun. So that's it for today. Judge Vinny, Vince August, coming to you live Friday, February, what's today? 5th, something like that. Jess, take me out of here. Take me home. I got to get back to work. Thank you, everybody.